Good day everyone! Magandang araw po sa ating lahat, lalong-lalo na po sa ating kagalang-galang na guro na si Binibining Naomi Daginutas. Magandang araw po ma'am. So before I start for our formal discussion, let me introduce myself first. By the way, my name is Mariell Saberon from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Filipino 2. So, our topic for today is all about the rules and competencies of a school head. So now let's have first the intended outcomes of this topic. At the end of this chapter, you should be able to discuss the competencies expected of school head as contained in Competency Framework of Philippines and Southeast Asia. So, before we proceed to our main discussion, let us first define what is rule, competencies, and a school head. First, rule is a function, assumed, or part played by a person or a thing in a particular situation. It means rules is a task or responsibility that was assigned or given to you as a part of the organization or a community you belong. Second is competencies. Competencies is ability to do something successfully or efficiently. In other words, competency is also the ability or capability of a person to do something successful and efficient. Also, a person should have gained in order to fulfill his or her vision and mission in life. Third is the school head. It is the staff members of a school with the greatest responsibility for the management of the school. So the school head has the vital role for a school improvement where the school head should perform good attributes or attitude in order to imitate those attitude of learnings. Now that we are done defined what is rules, competencies, and a school head, let's move on to our main discussions. So for these topics, we have the three subtopics that we are going to discuss. First is the school heads as an instructional leadership and administrative leadership. Second is the competencies for school head, the NCBSSH, or the National Competency-Based Standards for School Heads. And lastly, the Competency Framework for Southeast Asia School Heads, 24th edition. So as stipulated in Chapter 1, Section 5 of RA 9155, the school head is an instructional and administrative leader. So why the school head is said to be an administrative and instructional leader? So the main function of school is the students learning and also intended prepared students for lives. And the school head must spend more time as an instructional leader. Another, the school head has to maintain good ambience for school and to have a good instructions with his or her co-teachers for them to become a productive and efficient teachers with desirable attitudes towards students to attain high level of education. So now that we know that school head is an administrative and instructional leader, let's define or what is the difference between instructional leader and administrative leader. Now that we know the school head is an administrative and instructional leader, let's find out what is the difference between instructional leader and administrative leader. So first, when we say instructional leader, sila yung ginatawag nato na kung sa DepEd, sila yung principals and the superintendent who supervise instructions. Pwede rin pag sa college, sila yung ginatawag natin na mga department chairs who are responsible for overseeing a specific academic department or a group of related department within a college or university. by observing teachers while they teach, conducting post-observation conference with individual teachers, monitoring and coaching them, and ensuring that teachers have the needed resources for teachers. So now let's move on to the administrative leader. When we say administrative leaders, sila yung ginatawag natin na mga executive or the chief director of the school. Matatawag rin natin sila pag sa college, sila yung mga deans, teachers natin, who concerns of the physical improvement and fund sourcing. Also focus on the management and operation of the school and also help schools improve schools. The roles of administrative leaders is helps improves schools and managing day-to-day operation of the school, while the instructional leaders only focus on the teaching and the students' learning. Now, let's proceed to the school head for the NCBSSH or the National Competency-Based Standard for School Heads. In the list of the competencies expected of school head, there are competencies for both instructional and administrative leadership. Now, let's try to take a look at the competency expected of school head as contained in the National Competency-Based Standards for School Heads or NCBSSH. Now, let's try to find out what is NCBSSH and how important it is for the rules of school heads. Many teachers thinking and wondering why they are only subject of the national competency standards with their immediate superior and the school heads are not. But it is not actually the case for like the teachers who are considered as the heart of the school systems. The school heads too will be under the national competency standards as stated in the DepEd Order number 32 of 2010. According to the DepEd Order number 32 series of 2010, the NCBSSH or the National Competency Based Standard for School Heads defines as a list of competency standards which can be used as basis for the school heads' decision-making, action, and performance of their functions. Also, it is used as basis for the preparation of comprehensive training and development based on expected tasks that will be utilized to deliver training programs to ensure efficiency, effectiveness, and excellence of school heads' jobs performance. So the NCBSSH basically self-appraisal tool which is accomplished by the school heads themselves. The school heads are asked to complete the self-assessments instruments where they identify the behavior they have consistently demonstrated in their role as a school heads across the 7 domains. There are 5 guiding principles helps framing NCBSSH. First is the function-based. Its competencies are based on school heads' function as stated in RA 9155, related laws and DepEd policies. Second is responsibles. Competencies are applicable in any range of contexts, big or small schools, city or rural schools, culturally divergent groups. The third one is impartial. These are applicable to any school heads regardless of positions, items, gender, age, experience, and other personal circumstances. 4 is coherent. These are clear and logical, and 5 on the last is valid. It is all performance indicators are research and experience based. So again, the 5 guiding principles in framing the NCBSSH is first, the function-based, second, the responsive, third, impartial, fourth, coherent, and 5 is the valid. So now let's move on to the core principles of NCBSSH. School heads are competent, committed, and accountable in providing access to quality and relevant education for all through transformational leadership and high degree of professionalism. Core principles classified into 7 domains, and each domain had its competencies and strengths. The first domain is the school leadership. Next, instructional leadership, creating a student-centered learning climate. 4. The HR or the human resources management and professional development. 5. The parent involvement and community partnership. 6. The school management and operations. And the last is the personal and professional attributes and interpersonal effectiveness. So now, let's have here the first domain, the school leadership. Effective leadership is the core of every successful. This domain emphasizes that effective school collaboratively creative a vision and establish a climate for teachers, non-teaching personnel, and learners to reach their highest level of achievement. So there are the competency strands for these domains. It includes develop and communicating vision, goals, missions, and objectives, or the VGMO. Database, strategic planning, problem solving, building high performance teams, coordinating with others, and leading and managing change. The second domain is the instructional leadership. Education reforms have created an urgent need for strong emphasis on the development of instructional leadership skills. This domains covers those actions in instructional leadership. Example, the assessment of learning, development, and implementation of instructional supervision and technical assistance that school heads take or delegate to others to promote good teaching and high-level learning among the pupils or the students. So the competencies strands for these domains are assessment for learning, developing programs and adapting existing, implementing programs for instructional improvement and instructional supervision. So let's proceed to the domain 3, creating a student-centered learning climate. This domain requires that effective school heads set high standards and create high expectations for learners at the same time recognizing their achievements. So here are the competency strands for domain 3. First is setting high social and academic expectation and creating school environment focused on the needs of the leaders. This domains is important for students to have a effective learning and independent at the same time. Learning environment or learning climate is one factor of students' learning. So as a school head, you should provide them organized and quality learning environment instead of spending money on physical environment improvement of school, spend it more on instructional needs of the learners like buying new books and other learning materials. So now let's proceed to the domain 4, the HR management or the human resources management and professional development. Effective school leaders develop these talents to those around them. These domains includes the nurturing and supporting of the learning community that recruits teachers based on NCBTS and promotes the continuous growth and development of personnel based on IPPD and SPPD. So the competency strands of these domains are creating a professional learning community, recruitment and hiring, and managing performance of school and staff. So as an effective leader, you should train your co-teachers to become effective teachers to their students. Because as a school heads, it is your responsibility. You are committed and you are accountable to do quality and relevant learning of these students and you as a teacher as well. Now, let's move on to the domain 5, the parent involvement and community partnership. Effective school heads engage in shared decision making with the community in achieving universal participation, completion, and functional literacy. These domains cover parents and other stakeholders' involvement to raise learners' performance. So here are the competencies strands of these domains. Includes parental involvement and external community partnership. Now let's proceed to the six domains, the school management and operation. This domains covers the critical role of a school heads play in managing the implementing and monitoring of the school's improvement plans or annual monitoring. This Here the strands competencies of these domains. First is managing school operation, fiscal management, and use of technological in the management of operation. And here the domain 7 or the last domain, the personal, professional attributes and interpersonal effectiveness. Effective school leaders are models of professionalism, ethical and moral leadership. These domains include the development of pride in the nobility of the teaching professions. So here are the competency strands of this domain: the professionalism, community, interpersonal sensitivity, and fairness, honesty, and integrity. These national competency strands will ensure the continuing flow of dedicated and passionate applicants to the school head's position and not those wishy-washy types of whose primary and common agenda is to have a higher pay, prestige, and easy work as firmly perceived by many school heads positions. So now that we are done discussing or tackled about the competency framework for the Philippines, let's proceed to the Southeast Asia Teachers Competency Framework in 2014. So here, the examples of the competency framework for Southeast Asian school heads for 2014 edition. So, as a member of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEANs, let's also take a look at the competency of school heads for Southeast Asia. In 2003, the Southeast Asian Minister of Education Organization Regional Center for Educational Innovation and Technology, or the CMIO-INOTEC, developed the competency framework for Southeast Asian school heads. The competency framework was envisioned to provide a common foundation for defining what skills and attributes are needed of school heads in order to effectively carry out their roles and leads their schools to excellence and success. Since then, the framework had been used as basis for ENOTEC's programs offering for school heads in the region. After 10 years, CMIO ENOTEC undertook the challenge of reviewing and updating the competency framework to make sure that it remains responsive to the changing context and needs of school heads as well as the communities they serve. According to a consultative and participatory process that spanned 9 months from October 2012 and February to September 2013, it covers countries includes Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, PDR, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, Singapore, and Thailand was undertaken. So the process took into account view and responses of a good numbers and mix of school heads and stakeholders composed of Ministry of Education officials includes education officials, teachers, students, and parents, and educational experts for all over the region. Now, let's proceed to the competency framework for Southeast Asia. The competency framework is intended to be a basis for the development of semiotic capacity building initiative for Southeast Asian school heads. The Ministry of Education officials may find the framework an important and useful benchmark. Schools heads may find it useful in keeping themselves of the competencies they need in order to successfully perform the roles as a school heads in Southeast Asia. It is means by which organizations communicate which behaviors are required, valued, recognized, and rewarded with respect to specific occupational groups. It is also to ensure that staff in general have a common understanding of the organization's values and expected excellence performance behaviors. There are 5 domain competencies for Southeast Asian school heads were ranked by the participants in terms of their importance, frequency, performance, and amount of training for school heads. First is the stakeholder engagement. Second, the personal excellence. Third, the managerial leadership. Fourth, the strategic thinking and innovation. And last is the instructional leadership. Now, let's define what are the competencies and enabling competencies of these 5 domains. So now first, let's have here the domain 1, the stakeholder engagement. So here there are first competencies is promoting shared responsibility for school improvement. It includes the enabling competencies, which is build trust, lead teams or communities for school improvement, and empowering the community to work for enhancement of school performance. It is important that school heads build trust and empower the community for the betterment of school and for the improvements of school's performance. Second is managing education alliance and networks. So its enabling competencies here are communicate effectively with different stakeholders. Second is facilitate school community partnership and activities. Third is promotes consensus building. And last is manage conflict and practice negotiation skills. So as a school heads, you will be engaged and dealt with different persons, especially the stakeholders and the different administrations. So you should know what should be done and not when it comes in negotiation with different partnerships of schools. So number 3, the sustaining collaborative relationship with stakeholders. So there are the enabling competencies. First, support community-based programs and projects. Second, and communicate schools' performance report to stakeholders. Now, let's proceed to the domain 2, the managerial leadership. The managerial leadership has 3 competencies. First is the managing schools' resources and system, and it has the 3 enabling competencies includes manage financial resources, manage learning environment, and manage system and procedures. Number 2, the managing staff performance. It includes the enabling competencies which are manage school personal requirements. Second, support professional development of staffs. Third is recognize staff performance. Here, the third competencies, the managing sustainable. It includes demonstrate program and management skills, promotes school-based programs and projects that support sustainable development. So the role of school heads in managerial leadership is very crucial for the effective functioning and success of a school. School heads provide strategic directions, effective management of resources, and conductive learning environment for students and staff. Now, let's move on to the domain 3, the personal excellence. These domains consist of three competencies. Now let's have first the managing personal effectiveness. It includes lead by example, demonstrate transparency and accountability. Third, practice a balanced, healthy lifestyle. Fourth, take a pride in one's profession. And last, deliver the result. Second competency, the acting on challenges and possibility. It includes the enabling competencies. First, manage priorities, exhibits this decisiveness in addressing challenges, and last, exhibit an enterprising attitudes. And the last competencies, pursuing continuous professional developments. It includes take responsibility for learning. Second is advocate ASEAN values and perspectiveness. So the role of the school heads in personal excellence is vital for setting a positive example, fostering a culture of integrity, and promoting continuous personal and professional growth within the school community. Now let's move on to the domain 4, the strategic thinking and innovation. So this domain consists of three competencies. First is the charting and strategic direction of the school. It includes the three enabling competencies. First, work with the school and community stakeholders in developing the strategic plan. Second, lead in the implementation of the strategic plan. Third, demonstrate the vision and model and values in everyday work and practice. The second competencies is making informed decision. It includes two enabling competencies. First, use a range of evidence to support, monitor, evaluate, and improve the strategic plan. Second, practice regular review of plan or program implementation and utilize result in addressing implementation concerns and issue. And the lastly, competencies is the leading change and innovation. It includes lead change process toward the development and implementation of new approaches, systems, and structures. Second is sustain creativity and innovation in the school programs to achieve higher learning outcomes. Now let's have the last domain, the instructional leadership. These domains includes the five competencies. First is leading curriculum implementation on the improvements. It includes manage curriculum implementation. Second, promote sensitivity of diversity and differentiate instructions. Now, the second competency is creating learner-centered improvements. This includes promote learner-centered activities. Second, promote a healthy and safe inclusive environment. Third is promote a culture of people and respect for diversity. Third competency is the supervising and evaluating teachers' performance. It includes apply appropriation models for supervision and evaluation and nurture teacher leaders. 4 is delivering planned learning outcomes. It includes promote team-based approaches to instructional leadership and manage assessments to improve teaching and learning. Embodying strong instructional leadership, school heads inspires excellence in teaching and learning, support students achieve and create a positive and enriching educational environment that empowers students to reach their full potential. So now we are done discussing the domains and competency framework for Southeast Asia. So now let's proceed to our major takeaway for this topic. So the major takeaway from the topic, the rules and competencies of school heads underscore the critical importance of effective leadership in education. School heads plays a pivotal role in shaping the future of the students, the teachers, and the school community as a whole. Overall, the topic highlights the multifaceted nature of the rules and competencies of the school heads and underscore the importance of a strong leadership in driving educational excellence, fostering innovation, and creating a positive and empowering learning environment for students, teachers, and the wider school community. School heads are not just administrators. They are educational leaders who must possess diverse sets of skills and competencies to effectively lead their schools. At doon po nagtatapos ang aking pag-uulat ngayong araw. Sana po'y mayroon kayong natutunan mula sa ating pag-uulat. So sa muli, ako po si Mariell Saberon, nagmula sa lupon ng mga mag-aaral sa Filipino at magandang araw sa ating lahat.